is actually focused on the editor tool that we use for managing web content, as well as events on the calendar and the marketing tool. You'll notice I'm actually logged in and dialing to connect to our demonstration site. And as I log in, I want to go ahead and make a couple of notes. First, I want to comment that I'm logging in as an administrator. So if there is anything that we are going in or accessing in the ClubSoft system that you don't currently have permissions for, you may just want to contact your system administrator and have them update your security. Second, we are accessing the demo site, which has the most current version of the ClubSoft tools. So I want to go ahead and make a note that, again, if there's a feature or something that you see in the system that you don't have access to, you want to make sure that you're using the most current version of ClubSoft. And if you have questions about that, feel free to reach out to support@clubsoftusa.com. Now, in order to access the website editor, of course, we really have access to it from, again, marketing, from the events area, as well as to manage our website content. And most of our content is updated through Web, Manage, and then Custom Web Pages here. When we have that list of web pages appear for us, there really is no limit as to how many web pages you can have. We have some clubs with 4, we have some clubs with 400. It's completely up to you and how large and robust you want to make your site. To access that editor tool, we can either double-click or select the option to edit an existing page, or choose the option at the top to do a new custom web page. I'm going to elect to do a new page just to have access to that editor tool. And we're going to look at that tool set and see what options we have for copying and pasting, editing content, formatting content on the page, and so on. So when I open up my custom web page, I have the option to give it a name. I can choose who has access to it, child pages, widgets, and so on. But what we're focused on for today's training is this editor tool. And it's going to pop up for any editable area or manageable area of our website, calendar of events, or of course our marketing emails. Looking at this tool, it should look very familiar. A lot of the icons we're used to seeing from Microsoft Word, Excel, a lot of the programs that we use on a daily basis. But some of them are a little bit different, and there are lots of tips and tricks for managing content. So I want to go through this toolbar in completion and make sure that we kind of have access to do that. What I'll do is I'll go through this toolbar, and then periodically I'm going to go ahead and unmute the phone line so that you can come in with any questions or specific inquiries that you have. Now, starting at the top left corner, you'll notice that if I move my mouse over any of these icons, it will tell me what that icon is. So my first ABC icon there is a spell checker. If I move my mouse over the next icon, it tells me this is the icon that does a find and replace. Now, you do have the option to just type content in to a page, and depending on the style of your website, that's going to determine what the default font type, font size, font style is. So for your website, if you typed in this is a test into a new page, it might be Times New Roman, it might be larger, it might be Arial. So that particular font style, the default is your website. It's something that of course you can change for any specific word or line item, but again, we have that default in place so that for the most part, your website can look very consistent and very professional without a whole lot of work on your part. If I want to run spell check, I'll simply choose that icon and it'll run that spell check. It'll let me know if there's any mistakes, give me an opportunity to change words that might be misspelled. And I even have the option to add words to sort of that safe word. So if you've got kind of an unusual, maybe your general manager's name or your club name is very unusual, you can add that to that spell check library so you won't have to do it over and over again. You also have the option to find and replace, and find and replace works a lot for, for other programs that we have. We can look for a particular word and then either replace it with something else, anything like that. So we can look for the word test and locate it in our content area. Additionally, as we move kind of over to the right, you'll see this third icon has a little sort of black arrow to the right of it, indicating it has sort of a submenu. If I choose that button, you'll see a menu comes up below. This is our icon that allows us to insert symbols into page. So those types of characters that may not be on our keyboard. So if I want to put in this little Sigma character, I can do so. If I want to put another character in, I'll just choose that menu again, and so on. Like any character or letter that we put here, I can just hit the backspace key to remove it. So very simple. This just lets us handle those special characters that we might want to use. Now, because we have so many clients, using other programs for various things for the club, whether they've got their membership application in Word or they've got a special event flyer in Publisher, you're going to see a lot of times where people are going to copy content from another program and paste it in. The system, for the most part, is smart enough to identify anything that's not web-friendly and clean it up. So, for instance, a lot of times when I will copy a Word document and paste it into the page, the system will prompt me and it'll say, we sent some Word formatting, is it okay to clean it for you? And I always say yes. When I copy and paste Word information or from a Word document, I don't realize sometimes some of the things that it's copying from the back end. So I think it's just copying over the words, this is a test, but really it's also copying over in the background that I'm using an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, that I have 2-inch margins around the page, and so on. So we're clearing those types of content in the background that, again, we can't really see. There are, however, some programs that when we copy and paste them over, it doesn't look quite right. It doesn't look the way that we formatted in our program. We see this a lot when we use older programs, particularly I know we have a couple of clients that use Quark, which is a very old, art program. And sometimes when they copy and paste over, they have to clear out certain types of styles or elements. And that's where this fourth icon comes in. It strips certain types of formatting. So this will strip word formatting. If you happen to say no to the prompt, but you realize later on you want to clean it up, you can. Span elements are typically those elements that are going to cause any formatting problems. So if you copy and paste the things over and it just doesn't look the way it should, chances are you want to strip any span elements that, again, don't make sense perhaps for the web. You can also just strip certain types of formatting if you like, if you want to clear any of the font styles, any of the style at all, versus just all formatting. So you can basically just reset this to scratch and again, kind of format it anew. These are typically not things that we're going to use on a daily basis. They're really just there from a troubleshooting standpoint. So if you copy something over and it doesn't look quite right, I'd recommend coming to this menu and selecting from these options to clear out and make sure that formatting is what you want it to be. Before we continue, do you have any questions on those first few icons? All right, we'll go ahead and remute the lines then and continue. Sort of making our way to the right here, the next icon is probably one of the ones that's most used, and it's our image manager. When I select that mountainscape icon, you'll see a pop-up window comes up, and it's going to show me, we provide several different things. First, I've got a little menu at the top. I have the option to refresh, to create a new folder for organizing my pictures. I do have the option to delete pictures. I can even upload, and of course it's grayed out, but if I choose on an image, I have the option as well to edit it. Now the reason that you might want to put your pictures in folders, our demonstration site, as you might imagine, gets used by a lot of different people. And so you'll see having these folders lets us organize our pictures, our golf pictures versus our dining pictures versus history, makes them a lot easier to find. Because again, even over the course of the last several months, for our ClubSoft demo system, all of these pictures are sort of mixed up together, and sometimes it can make things hard to find. It automatically sorts them in the order of name, so again, A to Z. But you may want to consider adding folders to organize those. So if I'm about to load up some pictures maybe from my Labor Day tournament, I can just choose to do a new folder, type in my folder, 2010 Labor Day Tournament, and click OK. And now I've got a designated folder in that area where I can now put all of those pictures, which I really like. There's my 2010 folder here. And if I want to go into any folder to look at it, I can just double-click on it. If I want to double-click on my ClubSoft thumbnails, I can just double-click on that folder, and it'll let us go into the folder, much like we would go in to find the document on our own computer. Now, if I choose the name of any picture here on the left, you're going to see the thumbnail or the view of what it looks like here on the right, so you can make sure you're selecting the picture that you want. Additionally, I may desire to edit it for some reason. So let's say I want to take one of these pictures and I want to change the size or the format of it. I can simply choose the image editor. And I've got lots of different options here. Again, you're going to get a little pop-up window that comes up. You can choose the opacity of a picture, which basically lets you designate if it's sort of see-through or not. You can resize the picture. And I always recommend making sure that this constrained proportions is checked. If that's checked, when I change the height, the width will change and so on, so I don't get my stretched picture. If it's not something I care about, I can uncheck, and if I change one, the other won't update. But again, usually I don't want my pictures to stretch. Often, if you're like me, sometimes you'll upload a picture and you'll realize it's sideways. You just forgot to flip it. Here we've got the option to flip horizontally, flip vertically, both. You can also rotate your picture. So if really it's supposed to be backwards, then this is where we want it to be. Additionally, you can also crop your picture. Now again, those of you that do a lot of photo editing for the web, you may find that you have photo programs on your computer that you like better than this sort of very basic tool set. There's no reason why you have to use this image editor at all. You can edit and format your image and then upload it to ClubSoft. We just have this tool set available for you if you don't have a program or if you'd like to just make a couple of quick changes before you load it to a page. You can, of course, restore the image, which will just reset it to the way it was when I selected it. You can save it as, so you could save it as a separate picture. So if you wanted one to be, such and such person large versus such and such person small, maybe you're doing two different pictures, you can just overwrite the existing picture, or you can save it as something new. There's lots of different options there for editing as well. I'm going to go ahead and hit cancel. If I want to actually add this picture to my page, so let's say the bingo picture is the one we want, I'll simply choose the option to insert. And wherever my mouse or my cursor was in that editor screen, it's going to load that picture. Now, chances are this isn't really the way that I want it to look. I've got lots of options. One of the most common things that people will do is they will right-click on top of the picture to see this particular menu, the image properties and the map editor. The image properties is really the feature that's used the most. And when we select that, I can, again, just like that constrained proportions, that checkbox, I can lock this link. So when I change my width, my height changes as well. I can also give it a border. So if I want to give it a nice blue border, I need to designate the width. So the larger the number, the wider the border. Okay. Normally for a border for a picture, I usually do about 3 to 5. 5 is usually the largest that I'll do. 1 is usually the smallest. And then you can also align the picture. This is the most asked question I think I get in the editor tool. I want my picture to be to the left side or the right side of the text. I want the text to wrap around this picture. This is where that comes in, and I can choose to align it and put it on the right side of the page and have the text go around it. And if I choose these options, sure enough, my picture's now larger. It's on the right side of the page. It has a blue border. And you can always go in and change things. So I can right-click, set image properties if I want. I can change the size back to 100. Sure enough, we've changed the size. We've still got the blue border. It's still on the right.